everyone again. So in this part I was thinking to show you how would you parse a message that contains a bit more element than just a single toggle boolean element. So I was thinking maybe we can also print out the button status. So at the moment we have changed something on our microcontroller that is sent through our server. And now we would like to do the opposite. So something changed in our microcontroller and we would like to publish it to our server. And to do that, there are different methods. One, we could set up a kind of a timer and we can update the server automatically or periodically. But this is a little bit more, it requires a bit more work. That's why I'm not going to start with that one. Maybe I can do another video about it later on. But now I would like to make it as simple as possible. And it is again automatic polling. When you refresh the page, then you will see the updates. Or maybe when you change the button, the LED, then it's going to update. So still the node that is asking the request is the server. It is not the microcontroller, but it is possible to do it. Now it's not updating. The thing that I'm trying to say here, it is possible to set up a timer and update the server on a periodic level as well. Let's just start with a simpler version first of all. In here, in my wizard here, I can set up another UI element. For example, I can put up a text, or you can do another buttons and stuff if you want, but I want to have it as simple as possible. So I would like to have it, for example, just next to it, I would like to write a value of my button. For example, here, button state is here. We are gonna change here, you see, it is an error. I can either go to my REST API and let me do it bigger screen. I can either add another endpoint which will make another getter and setter for this endpoint, which is completely fine. Then you will use those getter and setter and set them like we did in the beginning to here, and then you are supposed to add another HTTP handler. This is one way of doing it, but I would like to do it even simpler. What do I mean with that? Instead of making another endpoint, I can actually add another attribute to my LED's endpoints. For example, I can add one more attribute, and this can be called button, or maybe I can call it a bit more explanatory, user button. And let's change it because bool and integer are quite similar. So let's do it a little bit more different, if you will. Let's put it as a string. Okay. And in the beginning, my button is not pressed, so I would like to call it released. Since this is a string, I have to give a size. So how many elements? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 characters, and pressed is gonna be something like that. Maybe I can set 10 characters for now, but you can have it bigger. I just want to be a little bit efficient. At the same time, I would like to give enough space for the value. It looks fine. If I go back to my UI elements now, in this API variable, I can, instead of using the API variable, now I can use again my LEDs dot, which one was it? User button. You see now it is not giving me any errors. Currently it is released, but we will change it afterwards. If I go back to my settings, it is in integrate mode, not create a new one. So far so good. Then I can go and generate the code here. Yes, the code is generated, and if I go here, now it is, if you go to your getter and setter either here or your Mongoose, so you see that this LEDs, it was originally just one element, false. Let me show it actually in the glue function. So it was only false in the beginning, but now it has two items or two attributes in it. One is released or pressed, the other is gonna be false or true. Definitely it would be better to have it Boolean, but I just try to show you different data types. How would you manipulate it, so to say. So now what I need to change is what I want to do. I mean, this is a bit design choice, right? How do I want to update my server? Currently, I just want to, whenever I have a getter called, I just want to update the status of the button. But to do that, first I need to have a user button, right? Let me go my CubeMX inside the IDE, Cube IDE. Let me see on our website, by the way, or in the datasheet, if you will. You can also have a look at that. But since you are familiar with the website, I would like to show it through the website, our user button. So in the datasheet, reference manual and everything. So if you have a look at PC13, this is my user button connected. You are not convinced? Then you can go to the user manual of Nucleo 144. You can open that one. And in here, if you search user or maybe push buttons, here, if you go to push buttons, you see there is one user button and one reset button, and those are these. The black one is the reset button and the blue one is the user. Okay, black one is the reset and blue one is the user button. So you see that it is connected to PC13. So in two places we double checked. That means that we can go back to our CubeMX and we can set PC13, which is here, as the GPIO input. And let's call it something else, for example, user button. And if I go to GPIO under system core, my PC13 input mode, it is connected to a pull-up resistor. That's why I don't need to change it. That's why I will keep it there. But if you want, if you have an external button, you know how to do that. You can select pull-up or pull-down in here. But currently, I don't want to change anything, and I'm not going to make any interrupt or anything at the moment. But you know that you can do all those things that you know from the lecture in here. Wait a second. Okay, I'm back. Yes, now we are good actually. We can just Control S for saving. And different than the CubeMX, we don't press the generate button or anything. It will just generate it automatically when we save it, or ask us to generate automatically. And we can open the main function again. By generating this code now, it will be possible for us to read button through user button. By the way, I think we can remove this one now. It was just for help for us. And now, since I said that whenever I update the website, whenever I have a GET request, so to say, I would like to read the value of the button as well. So now what we can do is, because since we are dealing with strings, we cannot just directly do it like bool, like we did with the read writes, okay? So we need to be a little bit careful with the strings in C. Therefore, let's do it step by step. I can first read the button. Let me just call the function GPIO read pin. Okay, and that's, if you go into this function, it will return you GPIO state. So maybe I can define a GPIO state variable called button state, which is equal to whatever I'm reading from my user port and user pin. It's not showing. Let me see if I did something wrong. GPIO port and GPIO pin. It was correct. GPIO port and user button. Yeah, okay. User button GPIO user button pin here. Yes, so far so good. And now, based on the button state, I will copy a string into data user button string, right? So I can put an if statement here. If my button state is equal to by the way, GPIO button state, if you don't remember, you can have a look at that. GPIO button state can be either reset or set, right? And if my button state is equal to GPIO pin reset, then I can say that my data user button will be equal to, for example, pressed. Why? Because we have a pull-up resistor, which means that when we don't press it, it is high. When we press it, it is low. So when we press it, it is low. It means that we pressed. But we cannot do it like this for Python, like we do in Python. We need to copy a string, this string into this string to use in C. Therefore, we have a function called string copy, and that we need to have the one string to the other one. So we need to have the one that we will be copying, and this will be the one that we will copy to, or copy to, and the thing we are copying. So it's something like that. And then else we will have released. Okay, shall we try that one now? We don't need to change anything down there. This was what I was talking about, to make it as simple as possible, because we are still with the HTTP handler, we are still using the same getter, same setter, and we are just adding some extra thing in our data. So let me just try to compile the code. Which is fine. Yes, and now I had the console here, but it is gone now. So I need to make a new serial console. And my STM was already on COM port 8, so I can just select that one. I can reset, and now network is done, network is completed, and then here we can start our server. We can refresh it. So now this is there. Let's see if that one is working properly. Yes, my LED is toggling. Actually, we have it opposite. So pressed and released. When it's pressed, it is released, and when it is pressed, then it's released. So it was supposed to be like that when the button state is reset. Let me see if I remember it wrong. Okay, let me see here. So I have the user button directly connected to the ground. It was with the pull down. So when I don't have the press, I have it on the ground, and when I press the button, it connects to the source. So our code was actually wrong. So this should be, when it is pressed, it's gonna be set. Let's build one more time and have it perfect. Okay, so if I go back to my serial monitor, server is up. It means that I can just go and refresh my server, and when it is there, it is released, still released. And then if I press the button and hold it, and it is pressed. If I release it, then it is released. It works perfect. So I hope it was useful. I will consider making one more video maybe based on the timers, but I can't promise now when it is gonna be. So I highly suggest you to try yourself how to set up a timer. Otherwise, you can just do manual polling like we do in here with our Mongoose poll. You can try adding other endpoints. You don't have to just enlarge that endpoint with more elements. That would not be ideal. But if your project requires just one endpoint, you can have to expand your endpoint with different attributes now. I hope it was useful, and I wish you good luck with your projects.